Welcome to Miracles in the Madness, where faith meets the chaos. I'm your host, Ashton Kever, and together we'll explore stories, Bible truths, and encouragement for women living in the beautiful, messy life God has called them to. Each week, we'll dive into real-life testimonies, practical encouragement, and Bible insights to help you walk faithfully through the everyday madness. Come join me. So before we get started, I just wanted to share a little bit about a really exciting opportunity coming up March 6th through 7th here in Missouri. It's at High Hill Christian Camp, and it's their 2026 Women's Weekend. Their theme this year is When God Writes the Story. It's going to be a weekend of looking at your past, present, and a future of walking with God as He writes your story. Now, one of the things that was important to me when I started this podcast was sharing with you opportunities to grow and deepen in your faith. And I just want to be honest with you. I will receive nothing if you go to this conference. I don't get anything from telling you about this other than the hope and prayer that you will take this opportunity to deepen your faith with God and maybe make some friends along the way. If you're interested in attending the 2026 High Hill Women's Weekend, you can go to highhillcamp.org/women's-weekend. That's highhillcamp.org/women's-weekend. You can find more about it at the link in the show notes, and I hope to see you there. Welcome back, and I'm excited to tell you that today this is a special bonus episode that I am sharing from my friend Jennifer over at Wholesome TV Picks. Jennifer had me on her podcast recently, and I got to talk about a show that is near and dear to my heart, and that is Little House on the Prairie. We talked about how this show is still relevant today, why it's a good pick for you and your family. And, we got into some more specifics, but really, I just wanted to share it because I really love my friend Jennifer's podcast, Wholesome TV Picks. It is a great way to help you and your family pick a great, maybe timeless TV episode or movie that maybe you guys can share and bond over on a Friday night or, a family movie night. And she can really cut down the time it takes to find a movie. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I will sit and scroll through Netflix and then I'll not find anything on Netflix that feels right. So then I'll go to Disney and scroll through Disney and, just any platform that we have, right? I'm just scrolling through all of it until I find just the perfect episode. And sometimes it takes so long that the kids are over it before we even start the movie, right? And I think Jennifer seeks to stop that from happening, and exactly going into movie night what you want to watch. And so I encourage you to go listen to her podcast. They're micro episodes, typically shorter than 10 minutes. So even if you're on movie night trying to pick in the moment, you will not miss the opportunity to still watch your show and find it in the appropriate location. So without further ado, give this episode a listen. I hope you like it.
You've probably heard that Little House on the Prairie is too slow for today's kids, that they'll never sit through a show from the 1970s. But what if that slower pace is actually what your kids need right now? What if a show about pioneer life could help them focus for longer than 3 minutes and give you something real to talk about together? I haven't watched it myself, so today I'm doing something different. I brought in Ashton from Miracles in the Madness, someone who grew up with this show and whose relationship with her mom was actually shaped by it. You're going to hear why they both cried watching it together and why that moment mattered. You'll hear what age works best to start, how the show handles really tough topics like racism and abuse without going overboard, and why that 90-minute pilot episode is actually worth sitting through. Welcome to Wholesome TV Picks, the only podcast where every recommendation comes from 35 plus years of watching wholesome TV your family can actually trust. If you want clean, uplifting content for family movie night without the 45 minutes of scrolling through Netflix, I'm here to help. So let's get into it. Welcome, Ashton. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer. I am so excited to be here to chat with you about this today.
Can you give a brief overview of what Little House on the Prairie is about and what makes it a great show for viewers?
So if you're kind of a nerd like me, and there is a book about a movie or a TV show, this is definitely one of those opportunities to read the book first if you like that. It's based off of the stories compiled in Laura Ingalls Wilder's series of books based on Little House in the Big Woods, I think.
Yes.
It is a show from the 70s, 80s. Personally, I think you could watch this show at any age. I probably started watching this show when I was 4 or 5. I think the storytelling is so rich that a 6 or 7-year-old shouldn't have any problem following along. And you get to spend 10 years with them if you watch every season. I will admit it's a little slow when you get started because it's got a lot of characters. It's got a lot of build up to establish the story and get you to really buy into the characters. Back in the day, a pilot episode often would be like movie length because it was setting up the scene and the characters and et cetera, et cetera. The first episode is like an hour and a half long. So I think that's another thing that parents might want to think about is I think kids these days especially are used to shorter bursts of attention span. And so this show will require a little bit longer of attention span, which I think is really positive in today's television and screen watching is your kids aren't having to like stay focused on it for a while. So Little House will definitely be a big difference from that.
What memories do you have sharing this with your mom? Like, did you guys have conversations? What did you learn together from watching this show?
There were so many times that I remember my mom and I just sitting there, she was watching it for the second time, but she started crying at certain scenes. And I would be crying at some scenes as a kid, relating with Laura at what she was going through and things like that. And so it absolutely opened up conversations for me and my mom, but it also gave us something to do together that we wanted to do together. My mom really likes television, so for us to find something that at a pretty young age that I was able to dive into with my mom and it be as exciting for me the first time I'm watching it as maybe it was for her, really like built this bond and connection there.
Have you watched this show with your own children?
Not so much yet. My children are 5 and under, and my oldest is a boy. While I think there's plenty that he will get excited about, I don't know that he's quite old enough yet. What he has watched in passing when I kind of have it on, it mostly just makes him curious because the things that the show even just shows, it's so far removed from like what life is like today that it makes him ask questions like, why doesn't he just have a tractor to plow the field, Mom? Things like that.
Do you think it's best to watch it from season 1 or can anybody jump in from any point?
You almost have to start at season 1 to really buy into the characters in the story because it's so much about telling you where they're coming from. I believe the show kicks off in season 1 where Laura's probably about 4 or 5. And so starting it at that age for me, especially as a girl, I really just like felt this connection to Laura. And so I think if your child is in that age range, especially if she's a little girl, it may really build this like identification with this character that, if she's feeling, you're feeling, and she understands what you're going through because even though she didn't have phones and technology and all of the same things that we have today, she's dealing with the same bullying. She's dealing with the same feeling like she doesn't measure up to her older sister. She's going through similar things that your kids are going to be going through. So it's kind of a great opportunity for them to grow up with Laura. There are some episodes that are a little bit more, they address heavier topics.
What kind of topics does the show delve into that is more heavier than the norm?
I remember episodes about drug addiction, about domestic abuse, about death, about house fires, bullying, loneliness, racism. It hits that several times. Like, one of the things that I really love about it is that it's not afraid to touch on a heavier topic, but it does it in such a beautiful way so that it's not too much but it's enough to start a conversation. And it's more than just the happy-go-lucky, everything ends happy all the time kind of storylines. So I think today we really struggle because either we don't show anything or we show too much. And so it puts our kids in this middle ground where it's like, okay, so life is really black and white, but it's not. And so for them, if we're shielding them from this and they get to watch this, they start to grow up thinking that everything is good all the time. And then we put them in this position, well, okay, well, now you're old enough to maybe understand these concepts, but it's so much that when they see it, they're like, wow, life is so not what I thought it was. And it sets them up for this, I don't know, heartbreak or not real idea of what life is like. And I think Little House like finds that gray, right? But as I mentioned earlier, some of the concepts, while they're old enough to maybe understand what's happening, the concepts might be just a little mature. So it's heavy. You may have to have a conversation with them before, after, or during, but it's not so heavy that it feels like we shouldn't let them watch it. So I think back to the age question, I think you have to know your kid. And if you're not sure, definitely pre-screen and watch before you let them watch it too.
I love it. The show does have depth and substance to it. I love that it deals on such heavy topics. I'm glad to hear that it does have that middle ground. A friend of mine said the same thing where a certain episode, she says her children aren't ready to watch yet, but she does plan on showing it to them at some time. What value do you think this show would have for families today that have never seen it before and are ready to invest in watching this?
So, first of all, one thing that I love about the show is there's no technology. Like, they're excited about this old phone that doesn't even, like a receiver. And so I think our kids often get so sucked into the screens and social media and things like that that are so normal in today's television even, that it still creates this degree of separation. One of the things that I think the show does a great job at is like putting an emphasis on family time and that value. I think it also really shows an emphasis on like the value of hard work and passion and love and connection. And like I said, it doesn't stray away from those tough topics. And it kind of, I think, really emphasizes how you can take that family connection, that love, that compassion, and how if we had more of that in today's society, more of that connection, it would solve so many of these heavy topics that it does cover.
So well spoken. Thank you so much for that. Quick note, if you're loving this conversation about shows that handle real-life topics and want another family show with values, go back and check out episode 15 on the new Lassie from the late 80s, early 90s. Okay, back to Ashton. Do you think your mom wanted to watch it with you for the connection, or was it something that your mom just loved so much that she just had to share it and pass it on to you?
I don't know. I think it probably is a combination of all of those things. It definitely started something for my mom and I where now if one of us watches a show that we really love, we share it with each other. I think she really shared it with me because she wanted to share this thing that meant so much to her growing up. Because I guarantee you my mom really, really bonded with Laura in the same way that I felt this bond with Laura. And I think that's incredible because it transcends time. I was not living the same lifestyle Laura was. I had running water and plumbing and electricity, but I still got made fun of for my clothes, my family's lifestyle or whatever, like kids still experience these things today. It just maybe looks like a little different.
Wow. Well, thanks for sharing such personal story. So before we wrap up, please share a little bit about what your podcast is about.
Miracles in the Madness is a podcast meant to encourage, support, and uplift busy Christian mamas. I talk about everything from how to work through that rough day with your kids to, hey, here's a lesson I learned recently in my Bible that I think could apply to your life and help you out the way it helped me out. And I'm coming at you as somebody who's going through it with you.
And if you're at that phase in your parenting where you need a little extra encouragement, go check out Ashton's podcast. Next week, I'm covering a 1991 adventure set during the Alaskan Gold Rush with scenery that'll take your breath away. The kind of film your kids will remember years later. It's a story about what happens when a wild creature has to decide if humans are worth trusting. Based on a classic American novel, filmed on location with real animals, back when Disney made great family movies. Don't miss it. Remember, your values matter and your TV should too. Until then, happy watching, take care, and I'll catch you next week.
Thanks again for listening to this special episode. I hope you enjoyed listening, and I hope you'll check out Jennifer's podcast, Wholesome TV Picks. There's a link in the show notes to her podcast, and I hope that maybe you will share it with somebody else so that they can find great TV that they don't have to worry about showing with their whole family and with their kids. I hope you'll tune in next week from the start of season 3. We got a lot of great guests already lined up and ready to share their testimonies with you in season 3. So I look forward to seeing you back at Miracles in the Madness next week. In the meantime, don't forget to look for the calm in the chaos and find those miracles in your everyday life. Thank you for listening to Miracles in the Madness. I hope today's episode encouraged you and reminded you that even in the chaos, God is faithful. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who might need encouragement. You can also visit my blog at ashtonkever.com for more stories, scripture, and resources to help you walk in faith every single day.